Today on Forbes, as Europe invests more in its armies, gunmaker Beretta is a likely winner. The October sun is rising over the sprawling 104-acre grounds of German ammunition producer RWS, on the outskirts of Nuremberg. Far from the 19th century red brick buildings that house the production facilities, employees outfitted in goggles and earplugs test explosives starting at 7 a.m. RWS churns out more than 3 billion components a year, including bullets, cartridges, and primers, which ignite the propellant in the cartridge to push the bullet out of the gun. One of the leading makers of small-caliber ammunition in the world, RWS is now part of Beretta Holding, the company behind the world's oldest gunmaker, Italy-based Beretta. The firm picked up RWS as part of its purchase of Ammotec, Europe's largest maker of ammunition and pyrotechnics, for an undisclosed sum in 2022. Beretta Holding CEO Pietro Gussalli Beretta, who is 63 years old and a 15th-generation descendant of the Beretta founders, says, quote, "This is our biggest acquisition yet." Since joining the family business 4 decades ago and becoming CEO in 1995, Pietro has helped remake the 499-year-old family-owned company by scooping up firms making everything from rifles to luxury clothing. The Ammotec deal, for one, added $600 million to Beretta's annual sales, helping it overtake Sig Sauer and Smith & Wesson, and added several NATO militaries to its roster of customers. Beretta is now the world's largest firearms company, with $1.7 billion in revenues in 2024. Speaking from the company's Luxembourg headquarters, Pietro outlines how that purchase helped the company, long known for shotguns and handguns, like the storied Beretta 92 pistol wielded by Bruce Willis's John McClane in Die Hard, and Mel Gibson's Martin Riggs in Lethal Weapon, move beyond its traditional focus and win over new customers in the defense sector. Pietro says, quote, "The 3 legs of our business are hunters, soldiers, and policemen. They need guns, clothing, and optics. The last piece we needed was ammunition. With this latest deal, we finally closed the circle." Before the acquisition, civilian sales accounted for 86% of the company's revenues, making it dependent on the whims of hunters and gun enthusiasts, particularly in the US, the world's largest firearms market, which makes up 37% of Beretta's sales. When COVID-19 sent gun sales to American civilians surging, Beretta reaped the rewards, with its North American revenues increasing 62% from 2019 to 2021. But Pietro knew that would not last forever. Plus, he still had to make up ground for a $580 million U.S. Army contract for handguns that it lost to its rival, New Hampshire-based Sig Sauer, in 2017. He says, quote, "The growth of the civilian market in the U.S. offset the loss of the Army contract, but in the meantime, we also built closer ties with other armies and police forces. We rebalanced." Now, defense and law enforcement sales account for 34% of Beretta Holdings' revenues, up from just 14% 4 years ago. It's also a smart time to bet on the military. Defense spending by European countries hit a record $350 billion in 2024, as leaders sought to rearm following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's set to grow even further, after European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced a plan in early March, right after President Trump said the US would pause military aid to Ukraine, to provide EU countries with $160 billion in loans to invest in their armed forces. Pietro, pointing to higher sales to Middle Eastern armies, says, quote, "It's not just in Europe. Governments all over the world are now spending more on defense. Naturally, we've benefited from that." Mark Smith, an analyst at investment bank Lake Street Capital Partners, says, quote, "If you're getting government contracts on firearms, it probably opens doors to pick up business on the ammo side as well. It certainly helps take away some of the ebbs and flows and cyclicality in the business." For full coverage, check out Giacomo Taghini's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.